What's up, everybody? Hey, Sarah here from Happy Buddha Media. Today, I wanted to share with you a walkthrough of a client website. This is the before stage of before we have revamped their website. But I thought it would be helpful for other health and wellness practitioners who have found themselves scrambling to kind of create a website. I know for a lot of us, having to move our businesses online, there is a greater need for having a website right now and having more of an online presence. And I've worked with a lot of health and wellness practitioners over the years, from personal trainers, yoga teachers, Pilates studios, to physical therapists. I've worked with a lot of diverse practitioners in building their website and creating health content. So I've seen a lot of stuff. And so I thought it would be useful to kind of go through step by step a website, just a one-page website quickly to help troubleshoot. I'm going to point out things that work and things that don't. I find that this is helpful so that you can kind of learn from what other people are doing. You know, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. So if you see something that looks good and is working for someone else, you can kind of adopt that for yourself. And it's already created. So if they're making some mistakes, it'll help you avoid those mistakes when you're creating your own health and wellness website. So let's get started. So this is the front page, and already I have a little critique here of something they need to fix. And up here, you can see I've typed in their web address, and they haven't paid for the security certificate. And I know when you're just starting out, it can feel like you're paying out a lot of money. You're paying for logos, you're paying for branding, you're paying for, web development. It can feel like an added expense. But the problem is, it says right there that your website's not secure. So, especially as a health and wellness practitioner, you want people to trust you because they're trusting you with their bodies, with their minds, whatever your services are that you're offering. You need to have a sense of respectability, a sense of trustworthiness, and having a secure website goes along with that. So pay the extra money. It's totally worth it. It won't warn people away from your website when they come to it. So right off the bat, that's what I would fix there. They have their logo up here, up top above the fold, which is, one of the first things you see when the website comes up. I think that's great. My only critique here, and this is more of a branding issue, is that it is a little hard to read with the font size and the font color on the kind of brownish black background. It's hard to read Physical Therapy Inc. So if I were working with them as part of their branding process, I probably would have talked to them about this color scheme, because like I said, it's just a little hard for me to read, but that's just, a little, have more than one person look at your logo when you're creating it is a good idea to make sure that those kind of things are caught early before you slap your logo on everything, right? Okay, so we're on the home page here, and you have a menu up top, which is great. The order here looks good. The problem is you go to click what we treat, our services, about us, even contact. None of the buttons work. So right now you have a website that isn't user-friendly, and doesn't do what it's supposed to do, which again, if you think about it from a psychological standpoint, people are coming to see you to, let's say you're a personal trainer and they want you to help them lose weight, right? It clicks in their mind when your website doesn't work. They think that you don't work, like you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're doing, and it's a little thing, but it turns them off in their minds, and you don't want that, right? Obviously. I have a feeling these were intended to be jump links to go to certain places on the page down here, but like I said, they don't work. You know, they have a nice big image here with, and the way, as you can see on my screen, their tagline is above the fold. So that looks good. So if you're going to use a tagline and you're going to use a logo, we do recommend having them. And when we say above the fold, we mean before you have to start scrolling, right? So everything shows up right on the screen. So that's great. They have their tagline here. I'm able to read it. I think because this image is so huge, I might have gone with sharper colors or considered using some video here, just to give it a little bit more movement, because it's kind of weird that they have so many people in this photo doing different things. So I don't know, something about the photo just kind of, and again, I'm nitpicking here, but you know, I probably would rework that image a little bit. You know, the thing to know about video, if you do add video, is it may increase your loading time when people click on your website. So that is something to consider, you know, whether you want to risk that or not. Sometimes it's worth it when you've got a great video. But this, to me, if they had like an introductory video, I happen at this practice, they have just 3 practitioners. It would be great for like an intro video, just kind of introducing people to the practice, or maybe more shots of treatment rooms, or you could even do a carousel of images of what to expect when you go and visit. Something a little bit more interesting than just a bunch of people working out, because frankly, and I think I finally clicked on what's bothering me about this photo. It's a physical therapy practice, but you don't see any physical therapists, right? This to me looks like a gym, because you don't see them being led by anybody. Everyone's just kind of working out on their own. So this more looks like a gym image, and that's something you're going to want to think about. Is images are important. They you know, engage people when they visit your website, but they also have to have meaning and they have to make sense. And in this case, I think that's what doesn't work for me about this photo, is the fact that it doesn't look like a physical therapy office. It looks like, you know, it's a place you go to work out. I love this. They have their kind of what they're all about. Their mission statement is here. This is interesting too. So part of their logo is they're all lowercase, right? But then you look at their menu, it's all uppercase. Okay. Now we're back to all lowercase. So think about that. That's something that, again, you're going to want to be consistent with. Consistency is key. Are you going to do, and you can mix it up, but you don't want to have too many different styles, or it just makes it look messy or unprofessional. So I think, again, you know, pick a style. And again, it's fine that they've done some all lowercase and some all uppercase, but I wouldn't do more than that. I wouldn't then go a mix of upper and lower together, if that makes sense. So this looks good. And then here we are, our what we treat section. So again, what's great about here, I love the icons. This goes back to thinking about your images. I would kind of have rethought some of these icons, because this is typically the handicapped icon. And I have had orthopedic injuries, and I certainly wasn't handicapped because of them. So I don't know that these icons necessarily work. And orthopedic conditions and syndromes are pretty similar. Obviously, there are different lists here, but I probably would have separated them a little bit, or maybe condensed them into one list that wasn't so big. But otherwise, I think these icons really work. I love the orange on the white. I think it really pops. The downside is nothing's clickable to get more information, right? So I click on orthopedic conditions thinking maybe, oh, it opens up and tells me more about them, and it doesn't. So you do have to be careful here when you start using different colors for your fonts, because sometimes it can indicate that you have a link. And in this case, it doesn't, obviously. And then we come to this section. And this is great. This is a list of everything they treat. The problem is there's no information. It's just a laundry list of words. And I know, one, they're doing that because they want people to know what they treat, obviously. But the downside is because there's actually no information about arthritis, for example. Like, there's no information about what arthritis is, the different types of arthritis, how, what causes it, how you would treat it with physical therapy. Because there's none of that information, Google actually isn't gonna rank you for arthritis just because you have the word arthritis on your page, if that makes any sense. And in some cases, it can actually work to your detriment when Google is analyzing your website, because it looks like you're just stuffing your page with keywords and not providing any valuable information. Nowadays, there are millions and millions of websites. And so we are all kind of fighting for that search engine optimization that I mentioned before. And that's essentially, you want to rank on Google so that when people type in this case, treating orthopedic conditions, you're going to come up on like those first few pages of a Google search as an option for being treated, right? One of the ways you do that is you want to have keywords, and that's, what we treat. We treat arthritis. But because you are competing against so many other people, you can't just stuff a bunch of keywords on your website and call it a day. Now Google has become more sophisticated. What they're looking for is, do you provide value to the person visiting your website? And by value, it means, are you providing them with information about what this keyword is? Are you providing valuable information as to how you would, in this case, treat arthritis, that keyword? So you really need to spend some time on your content. And I know that's kind of bad news, because you can do a one-page website in a day, but chances are it's going to take some time and attention and energy to really write your content to make sure that you're optimizing it, one, not just for the user, which of course that should be your main goal, to optimize it to the people that come to your site, but also optimizing it for Google, because essentially you want to expand your reach, right? And you want people to be able to find you on search engines, and this is the way you got to do it. So I appreciate that they've created this long list. My other note about this is, because of the size of the font and the way they've done these bullet points, they're really hard to read. So if I were a client and I'm coming to you, I have carpal tunnel, or I have, carpal tunnel's right there. Let's pick something right in that. If I have nerve entrapment here, right in the center, I mean, it's really hard to find, right? So you want people to come to your site, especially if you offer a bunch of different treatments, or you offer a bunch of different services. You want each of them to stand out and each of them to be easy to find. I'm telling you, because they're not going to do this. You don't want people to have to hunt for the information they're looking for, because they're not going to. They're going to bounce off your site and find somebody else. So just keep that in mind. Especially if you have a lot of services that you offer. And then we scroll down in here, and this is what I'm talking about. So here we are, we're lowercase, we're back to all caps, and then we're upper and lower, upper and lower. And then we have another little mission statement here that's a mix of upper and lower. And to me, this is too many different styles. And again, this is my opinion, but when I revamp this site, that is something I'd like it to be a little bit more consistent in the styles. I think it would just look better. And again, you have these little arrows, which are lovely and helpful because it's kind of telling the reader where you want them to go. But it would have been nice if that actually scrolled down for you. And here we are in our services. So we're on our services, what we treat, our services, perfect. So what's weird about this is it says our services, and it has some nice, a carousel, which I talked about before. Again, we have the repeat of the picture above, which I'm not crazy about, a picture of the outside of the building, and one picture of a treatment. If I were going to utilize or revamp this carousel, which I recommend, I would have it all be treatment pictures or pictures of the treatment rooms. Okay, here's another one. Okay, so there's a bunch, but you have to go through quite a bit to see the treatments. This looks like a class. But what's interesting here, you have headers. And again, when you're working with a website, you're going to want to use headers, and the headers are important to tell people what you're going to talk about next. So it says our services, but then it goes into our facilities. So I would definitely I would either add some content here about what services you offer, like how are you going to treat those things up top? You just gave me a laundry list of what you treat. Now talk about how you're going to treat it. You know, what's physical therapy? You know, what do I expect in a session? Do I have to can I come in my street clothes? Should I, or am I going to work out, or do you offer massage? You know, what to expect out of your services. And that to me, I would add that in their content section here, and then have our facilities be another header, be its own header, because it makes sense. This is where, this is what you expect. We have a premier state-of-the-art orthopedic rehabilitation center. Now, another few things here. You can see we're back to our all caps. This is underlined, and underlined, typically we tend to expect a link, right? Click on it, nothing. So you can certainly underline things on your website. I would be careful doing so because it does make it seem like it should be clickable, especially since facilities is in a color that matches the underline. People are going to try to click on it because that's what they're expecting, and it doesn't go anywhere. And again, they start to get annoyed, and they're like, okay, I'm getting off this website. This is annoying, right? This here, and this is something, so they've added LA, which is good. So especially for a health and wellness service, that it's more important for kind of your in-person clients to be able to find you. But I do recommend using some sort of locational language in your content. This is the first time I've seen that. I probably would have said Los Angeles because LA could be Louisiana. But again, Google will kind of pick up on Los Angeles's premier state-of-the-art orthopedic rehabilitation center. That's kind of keyword phrasing would click in with Google. So that's also important, as particularly if you're looking to work locally, to make sure you use those kind of geo tags in your language for your content. So, okay, facilities, and then this is the first call to action. And again, not clickable. It just says, give us a call. But what it would have been nice here is if you could have had it send us an email and made it clickable, or sign up for our, have questions, sign up for our mailing list, and we'll give you a call. So again, and the way this is styled here as a button, it looks like it should be clickable. So just keep that in mind. It's fine to have that kind of wording, like questions, give us a call, and not have it be clickable. But if you're going to do that, make it look like it's just a sentence. Don't make it look like a button that should have some sort of function, right? And I know this is a lot of information, and I know that I'm being nitpicky, but I also know that there's a lot of competition out there, and we're all going online, and we're all kind of scrambling to put our, create an online presence. And the more information you get, the easier it will be when you're building your website or rebranding your website. And so, bear with me, take notes, come back, watch the video more than once. It's worth it, right? And then here is services and treatments we offer. So this looks like this. Okay, so here we are. So our services, right? And then services and treatments we offer. It's in the same header size as up here. So this is where this is just, I would take this out. I would move the facilities down. I would either take this header out, or I would make an H3 a slightly smaller header. And I would actually, this is an opportunity with your headers to get some keywords in there. I would change it from services and treatments we offer to physical therapy services and treatments, just to get more of that keyword bang for your buck. And we have nice pictures here and a little what it is with a little header. And then I would probably, if I could, increase this text a little bit in size. It's I might be getting old. It's a little hard to read. So keep that in mind, especially like physical therapy. You're not only going to see young people, you are going to see older people that fall, break a hip, they're going to need PT afterwards. Keep in mind who's going to be coming to your website, right? But my main note here is they're using pictures, which is great. You want to use pictures that kind of make sense for what it is, but they're not the same size. This one's a little smaller, and so it breaks up kind of the look of it, and it makes it seem like it doesn't quite work for that space. The other thing is you've got lots of content here, medium, and then baby content here. So it just looks a little wonky when you're scrolling through, and it's kind of like, wow, everybody gets a long paragraph except for kinesis. So I either probably would have looked to write more content for this area just to make it look a little bit more in line with the other ones. And again, I know I'm being picky, but it's worth it. Let's look, they've got some links. See where this link takes us. Okay, good. So they linked out, they had some outbound links, which is good. Google likes that, especially if you're linking to another reputable site. And in this case, it's another medical site. So that'll help kind of increase their authoritativeness in terms of what Google considers them as being, affiliated with other experts in their field. So that's important, right? The problem is I'm off their site. Okay. So now I've lost Sundance PT. I'm on this anodyne therapy, right? So if you're going to include an outbound link, let me go back. You want to make sure that it opens in a new tab, because you don't want to lose people. You want people to stay on your site. If they're going to go off your site, you want them to go to that source that you're sharing information, which is great. Google likes that. Your potential client base likes that, but you want them to be able to come back to you easily and quickly. And the best way to do that is to have those tabs open up in a different window. So let's see, this the next one. I'll just do one more just to make sure. Yeah. So this is just, it's a super easy fix when you're, ooh, see, this is what I'm talking about. Nice use of video. Look at that movement. It grabs the eye. It's really nice. It took a little, you know, a few seconds to load, but wow, it looks great, right? So video can be really impactful to use, especially in those kind of header images. But again, coming back to it, it's a really easy fix when you're inputting the link. There is an option there to you click on it to open in a new tab, and you always click yes for these kind of outbound links, right? Now, here we go. Make an appointment. What happens? Nothing. I can't make an appointment. Now I'm pissed off, right? I've scrolled through all of your stuff. Now I'm like, yes, I've gotten through your whole website. I want to make an appointment. Nothing happens. Let's see what happens with show me more. Nope, nothing. So this is fine. You know, you can launch a website before you're ready to go. I just know that it's going to be really annoying for people. Especially if they're ready, they want to click on that call to action, and when they don't work, you want to make sure those buttons work. And then here we are, who we are, our team. Love it. This is, you know, again, you're putting a human face to your website. I love this idea. This is a very cluttered, this little area. And again, the styling of our about us and our vision and our experience is, again, this is probably our fourth styling that we've used. So I would want to streamline that, you know, pick a style or two and stick with it for your headers, for your titles. Just keep it uniform throughout the whole website. I would definitely create a little bit more space here. Right now, this is looking more like a newslettery type of format, where it's some over here and some on the left and some on the right. I would most likely have brought our vision and our experience under about us, so that, you know, they're reading one section, then they go down to the next section. It increases the length a little bit, but it's going to look better. The other thing too, we have different sizes to our practitioner photos, which makes it just look a little funky, a little off, right? So it's making the formatting of your website not look great. Again, we have very different sized, not very different, but, you know, different sized bios, which is fine. But because of how they have formatted it, it's really obvious who has less going for them in their bio, right? Not less going for them in life, but just in their bio. Then we scroll down some more. And again, weird styling here. We're, you know, some weird capitalizations. You know, we've given up on the all lowercase, but we've also given up on the all uppercase. And now we have kind of a weird mixture. Again, arrows that don't do anything. They're attractive. I do like the idea that they're kind of telling people where to go. I would use a little bit less space here to get them right into the contact information. This is very cool. Love that they have some testimonials here. I do, especially if you're going to have a one-page website like this, which I do think one-page websites, hey, I mean, they're great. They can, when they're done well, they can really be good to book clients, right? I don't think you need a ton more content unless you're going to incorporate a blog to kind of help with your SEO. I think it's fine to have a one-page website. I think it can be really, really beneficial, especially when you're getting started, and it will help kind of establish your authoritativeness, and it looks good for potential clients, especially if you're out and you're meeting people and they're like, hey, do you have a website? Can I check you out? It's nice to be able to have a place on the internet to to point people to. So if you have recommendations, I love this. I love including them on a website. That's great. Contact information, very good. They have let's see, they got a good link here and it works, looks like. Yep, very nice. See if we can download our forms. Yes. Okay, that works perfect. So, okay, good. So they have some buttons here and they do work, which is great. Let's see, Google Plus. Yeah, Google Plus doesn't work anymore. So, it's cool to have social buttons, but, right now they have a social button that, this platform isn't even offered anymore. This button, let's see if it works. Yes, it works. And it opens up in a new tab, which is good. So I like how they, because it just makes you seem out of touch. If you have platform, that's like having MySpace on here, right? And then down here, a map would have been great, especially, living in Los Angeles as I do. There is a big difference between living in Beverly Hills and being in Santa Monica in terms of drive time. So if you were to see clients in real life, and you want them to come to you, if I knew that you were working in Venice and I live in Beverly Hills, I probably wouldn't make the drive at like 4 o'clock on a Friday, right? So having a map is really nice, especially once we get back into seeing our clients in person. Kind of gives them a sense of where we are. But unfortunately for them, whatever widget they're using, either their address wasn't inputted correctly, or I would have to be on the back end to see what's going on here, but the widget isn't displaying correctly. So again, pretty easy to fix, depending on the widget you're using. But it looks bad if it doesn't work. So honestly, if you were to do a website yourself, and I think you totally can. I've made a ton myself personally, and some have looked great and some haven't. There is definitely a learning curve, but my recommendation is whether you work with someone who works in marketing, you hire a professional to kind of help you or to help guide you, or you do everything yourself with like YouTube videos and tutorials, and you just kind of troubleshoot things as you go. My recommendation is at the end of it, once you've launched it, to have someone, whether it's a professional that you can pay, or it's a friend who you really trust and they have eagle eyes and they're not afraid to tell you the truth, kind of go through as I did and kind of troubleshoot your thing. Because here's the thing, your website, right? But it's very hard to edit ourselves because we've spent so much time and energy and coding and getting pictures. You need fresh eyes on it. And what's nice is if you hire someone or you have a friend look through, they are going to go through more like a potential client would, and they can help. And most often they'll give you recommendations that you may not have even thought of because you were so busy writing it as the practitioner versus someone who would be potentially seeing you because they need the personal training, you already know. And for example, this right here, all this information is really important, but it gets very lost, especially their services. And I'm sure when they were doing this, they were like, okay, we want to list out everything we treat. That's great. Look at all that we treat. But coming from I'm a potential physical therapy patient, do they even treat? I don't know. Let me look through all these lists. I don't see what, and then you're like, well, I don't see my condition anywhere on these lists. What then? And in that case, I probably would have included whether a little blurb down here, like, not included on the list, give us a call. We'll give you an evaluation. The other thing to consider is there was a lot of scrolling before I got to a very, very small call to action. So probably the main thing is you want people to either call you, email you, however it is that you're booking clients. You want that to be prominent, and you want that to be soon, right? What I would probably have done a little button under here for any patients who feel at risk. I would probably have done a little button like ready for an evaluation, click here or something. Just so that the people that are good to go, the people that don't need all of that information to decide whether they're going to come see you, can just get right in and do what they need to do to make their appointment. Let's see, what else? I think that's it for today. Yeah, another thing, and just having someone look through your website it will help to spell check because trust me, I know from experience, it doesn't matter how many times you've looked at it, chances are there's going to be a spelling error or a grammar error on your site, and nothing. It just, like, again, it's a psychological thing that when people catch those mistakes, automatically your professionalism, your respectability, it's just suddenly diminished a little bit. And it's not fair, but it's just like when they catch you out in something, it does make a negative impact, a negative impression. So definitely have someone look through your stuff. And yeah, so I think that's it, guys. I know I talked a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at sarah.zuboff@gmail.com. It's my personal email. I'm happy to kind of go through, go through any questions you might have over the video today. And yeah,